we need to talk about something that's, well, it's incredibly difficult. It's about what happens when the very place you go for healing ends up being the source of your harm. We're talking about medical malpractice.
At the very heart of all this, there's a specific kind of hurt. It's not just physical. It's the pain that comes when your trust in a doctor and a whole system you relied on is just shattered.
Think about it. You went to them for help. Simple as that.
You put your trust in their hands. You trusted them with your health, your body, maybe even your life.
And then something went wrong. Something that you feel in your gut just shouldn't have happened.
Okay, so let's shift gears for a second because this next part is absolutely crucial to understand. You see, not every bad outcome is automatically malpractice. There's a really important distinction here. On one hand, you've got what's called a complication. And look, medicine is tough. Complications are known risks that can happen even when doctors and nurses do everything perfectly right. But on the other hand, there's negligence, and that is a totally different ballgame. Negligence is when a provider fails to give the standard of care they were supposed to.
So what is this standard of care we're talking about? Well, think of it as the baseline. It's the level of care that any other reasonably competent doctor in the same field would have provided in that exact situation. If the care you got fell below that line and that's what caused you harm, well, that's when the law says you might have a case. So let's pull back the curtain on what often happens right after a medical error occurs. This is the part that can be so confusing and isolating because behind the scenes, a whole system kicks into gear.
And it happens fast. Your records are suddenly being reviewed, but internally, behind closed doors. The hospital starts preparing its official explanation, and all of a sudden, what happened to you gets reframed. It's no longer an error, it's just an unavoidable outcome. And you're left with a bunch of questions and no straight answers.
When you feel that wall of silence go up, when you can't get a clear story, that's not by accident. That is a system doing what it's designed to do, protect itself.
And while that system is busy protecting itself, you're the one left waiting. You're left holding the pain, the bills that start piling up, and all these questions that nobody seems to want to answer.
The true cost of this kind of harm, it's so much bigger than just the medical bills. The impact is like a shockwave that can travel through every single corner of your life.
We're talking about things like a permanent disability, a lifetime of medical treatments you never saw coming. It could mean you can't work anymore or you lose your independence. And in the most heartbreaking cases, it means losing someone you love. The trauma, both financial and emotional, can stick with a family for years.
So if the cost is so high, what does it actually take to get some answers? Well, it's really important to get this. These cases are a whole different beast. They're incredibly complex and not at all like your typical car wreck case.
In fact, you might be surprised to learn that most personal injury lawyers won't even touch a medical malpractice case. It's a highly specialized field and for very good reason.
To have any chance at getting to the truth, you need a lawyer who gets both the deep legal and medical issues. You need a whole network of independent medical experts who can look at the facts. And frankly, you need the resources to go toe-to-toe with a hospital's army of lawyers and the guts to actually take them to trial if they won't do the right thing.
And that brings us to what might be the single most important thing I can say today. After all of this, the injury, the confusion, the stonewalling, it is so easy to start wondering if you did something wrong, to blame yourself. Please listen closely.
Getting to the bottom of it all takes a very specific kind of partner. A real trial attorney who lives and breathes these complex cases. Someone who believes that people who have been hurt deserve the truth.
You need someone on your side who already knows the other team's playbook. Someone who gets exactly how hospitals and insurance companies try to fight these claims. Someone who isn't afraid to stand across from them in a courtroom and is ready to do it again.
So if any of this sounds familiar, if something happened to you or someone you love, and you're still sitting here right now just wanting answers,
You are not the problem. Really, the only question now is this. Are you ready to find out what really happened?
because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. It's about finding answers. It's about getting clarity. And it's about finding your path forward. Yonke Law, that's pronounced Yonke, is here to help you do just that.